Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Look Back, where I take a look at reviews that I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago, and I tell you what I think about them now, if I think about them at all, and what my thoughts are on them. So this week, I took a look last year at Golem. In fact, we took a look at several big reviews. Golem, a very heavy game, actually. I think Golem's a tough game to play. It's a tough game to understand. It's a tough game to do well at, but I think at the end of the day, it still gives me some really good feelings, and I enjoy it a lot. 8 out of 10. Stella, this game from the Dixit universe, it uses Dixit cards, works better with lower amounts of people. I think Dixit works best with 6. Stella can work really well with 4. I like this one a lot. It's a very different game than Dixit, but uses some of the same mechanisms, basically trying to get people to think the same as you. 8 out of 10. Mobile Markets. This is the card game that was, so it was originally called a smartphone game. It still is a smartphone Inc. game, but it has some similarities to smartphone, but it's not quite the same thing. Mobile Markets works really well as you're trying to make cell phones and sell them to particular people. Works really well at 3 players, 8.5. And Foundations of Rome, which, as you just saw, if you watch, was in my top 10 of the year of 2022, so you know I like it a lot. A 9 out of 10. Amazing production, just such a fun game. I love this game so much. It's so fast and easy to play. All right, 5 years ago, lots of stuff going on. Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Card Game. I gave this one a 4. I'm not a fan of Scott Pilgrim, so take that into account. And I went and read a lot of the comics so that I could learn it, because the game, none of the stuff made sense to me. So I went and read the comics. I was like, this isn't for me. But the card game, it feels way too random as a deck builder. So 4 out of 10. Column of Fire. This is from Ken Follett's Kingsbridge series. This is the 3rd game in that series. The first one, The Pillars of the Earth, amazing game. Column of Fire just doesn't really hold up at all, unfortunately. 5.5. Civilization: A New Dawn. Now, this one's intriguing to me because I love Civ, the video game, a lot. It's one of my favorite games in the world. This one just brings it down too much. It streamlines it way too much. It's barely a Civilization game. I heard the expansion makes it better, but I have not had a chance to play it, so it's a 6 out of 10. I will say the card mechanism in it, though, was reused in Ark Nova to great effect. Drop Mix. This one I dropped from a 7 to a 6. I just played it last week. Incidentally, they just announced that the Drop Mix app is being removed from the store because of music, right? You know, it's not that the app, they're not supporting the app, it's because they don't want to keep paying for the music rights. Interesting, we'll talk about this probably in an upcoming board game, Smorgasbord. The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. This is, this one I still think about. Man, I like the idea of a thing. This is a hidden trader game, but there's just a few things that keep it from passing muster. It's just a little too hard to beat the Thing, honestly. 6.5. Word Domination, a game about words and domination, that's obvious. But it has some really cool artwork and everything. Again, just shy of where I want it to be, 6.5. Pairs. There's lots of different versions of this game. Very simple, cute little card game, 7 out of 10. Battlefold. This is based on a game called Fold It, where you're folding a cloth, and this one you're doing so and kind of a fighting method, which I thought worked really well. 7 out of 10. Very esoteric, though. 5-Minute Dungeon. I don't like this one as much as 5-Minute Marvel, but I do like 5-Minute Dungeon a lot. It's very simple. You're just playing cards as fast as you can. It's not 5 minutes, but who cares? 7 out of 10. Noria. This is designed by Sophia Wagner. She won the SDG Fellowship in 2015, and this was her first published game, Noria. It's a good game about kind of building this castle in the sky. So 7 out of 10. Although if you have a chance, check out The Boldest, another game she did. Very underrated, excellent game. Catacombs and Castles. This is a 2-player kind of back and forth battle. I gave this an 8.5. I'm dropping it to an 8 because I like it. It's fast. It's very fun. But I think almost every time I'm just going to pick Catacombs, even though it's a longer game. Sidereal Confluence. The expansion for this just came out. I can see it right over there. This game is an 8.5 for me. It's an excellent game, but realize that it is a very specific, I need a lot of players, I need a lot of time, and they need to understand a lot of rules, but it is a big negotiation Euro mechanism style game. Very fun. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This one, I gave an 8.5 to. Also, The expansion adds stuff. This is, I know, one of Roy's favorite games. This is kind of, it feels like Warcraft, the game as you build up. Very good game. Also, it's not Tiny Or, but it is epic. Dice Throne Season 1. Now, this is a big change. This one I originally rated as a 7. It is now up to an 8.5. The more I play Dice Throne, I remember first playing, I was like, this is pretty good, but not great. The more I play it, and then the Season 2, and then they went back and revamped Season 1. Just an amazing, fast. You want to play King of Tokyo for 2 players? Dice Throne. Rajas of the Ganges. I like this one a lot. Gave it an 8, but now it is up to an 8.5. This game just keeps getting better and better for me. Dice, tile placement. There's a lot of different mechanisms kind of mashed together, but I think it works really well. And then Lorenzo El Magnifico, Houses of the Renaissance. This is an expansion for Lorenzo, and I give this a 10. This is one of the best expansions I've ever played. It takes Lorenzo El Magnifico, which I like a lot, gives you starting resources, a very nice way of picking a special power and stuff. Man, I never want to play Lorenzo without this expansion. All right, now let's jump back to 10 years ago. We have Monad. Monad is, Eagle Gryphon decided to reprint several of the old Sid Sackson games. They want to print some of the good ones, so they printed some of the bad ones. This isn't one of the bad ones. Color cards, numbers, it's not good at all. 4 out of 10. Tomorrow, another 4 out of 10. This is from Conquistador Games. Now, they renamed themselves Artana, but this game is about you need to reduce Earth's population by any means necessary. Okay, that's a theme a lot of people aren't going to like, but the gameplay itself, not interesting either. If you have sharp gameplay with a, satirical theme like that, it might have worked, but unfortunately, not very good. 10 years ago, I reviewed Zombicide. 6 out of 10 I gave it. That was my first experience with backlash from Kickstarter fans because I didn't love the game. I didn't say it was bad. It just was okay. I still feel that way about original Zombicide. I think Zombicide Black Plague gets better, and I think each successive Zombicide game to Zombicide Night of the Living Dead I love, and I'm looking forward to playing the Western one. The first one I just thought was a 6. Tahiti, this is a game from Minion Games about connecting islands. It was okay, 6 out of 10. I'm the Boss card game, another Sid Sackson game. This was one that was never published as far as I can tell. A card game version of I'm the Boss, but just not as good, 6 out of 10. Courtier, this is from AEG. So they made a line of Euro games in a shared universe called the Tempest universe. The most popular of these games we'll talk about in a second, but this was the first one in that series, and it's good. It's from Philip DeBarry, I believe, just about getting influence in the court, but it has been forgotten. No one has really talked about it in a while. Venture. This is another one of the Sid Sackson games from Eagle Gryphon Games. This was one that had been printed a while ago, and it's fine. It's a little bit of a stock market game, 7 out of 10. Police Precinct. This is a fun cooperative game about being police officers. I love the theme. I love the whole idea of it. But as 10 years have gone by, there are ways I would like to see a second edition of this. That's why I dropped it from an 8 to a 7. Love Letter was game number 2 in the Tempest line. This one also drops from 8 to 7, but that's not quite accurate. I don't have time to put a bunch of arrows here. But this one dropped all the way down to a 6 at one point, and now it's back up to a 7. Because Love Letter, I loved it when I first played it, and then we got sick of it pretty quickly. Then they came out with another version. I was like, Then there was really good versions, but even the original game, I'm like, yeah, it's still pretty good. So this one has had a roller coaster of a ride for me. Fearsome Floors. This is from Friedman Fries. This is an old game, older than 10 years, but I reviewed it 10 years ago. Running from a Monster, lots of fun, 7.5. City of Remnants. This is from Plaid Hat Games, where you were like different rebel groups while aliens have taken over the city. There's some deck building. There's a lot of mishmash of stuff in here. And again, I think it's a little too weird for a lot of people. I don't think it did particularly well, but I liked it. 7.5. It was reprinted in 2018 as Neon Gods. I never did play that version. Escape. Curse of the Temple, a real-time dice-chucking game as fast as you can. Hilarious fun. 8 out of 10. Sushi Go, I gave this a 7.5, and I raised it to an 8. I love this drafting game. Now, why is it not higher? Because you should just play Sushi Go Party. They're the same game. Sushi Go Party just has more stuff. But it's still one of the best drafting games ever made. Sleuth. Now, this I gave an 8 out of 10. Of the Sid Sackson games reprinted by Eagle Gryphon, this was the one I know they wanted. Even this one hasn't sold particularly well. It's one of the best deduction games ever made, though. Why is it not higher rated? Because it's so hard, especially with multiple players, trying to figure out who has what You're trying to figure out a gem in the middle, and you're asking questions. You're sitting down, writing down answers. You have to keep track of every other player's answers and everything. It's such good chunkiness, but it is a tough game. Xanadu. This is one of the few games that was produced in Colombia, but a little, almost an engine builder. I really like this one, 8 out of 10. And then Kemet, 10 years ago, a 10 out of 10. Still a 10 out of 10. Kemet, one of the best games ever designed. It's hard to believe that it's 10 years old already. Anyway, those are the reviews that I did 1, 5, and 10 years ago. Thanks so much for watching Look Back. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.